Guys, it's Naseem here. So now that the Pixel 6a is just around the corner, many of us have been wondering whether or not we should get the Pixel 6 or the 6a. And in this video, I wanted to break down what each phone is good at based on various stages of use so that you can get an idea of which phone is actually better in terms of value. Now the Pixel 6 and 6a are arguably the best phones in their categories. The 6 is a great mid-range phone that has a ton to offer for only $600, and the 6a is a great budget phone that has a lot to offer given its $450 price tag. They both have very different looks from the previous Pixels. They both have a much better operating software in Android 12. They both have a very distinct yet beautiful look, matched with really great flat displays that have high resolution. Even looking at them from an individual standpoint, the Pixel 6 is a very premium phone that has a lot to offer in terms of hardware, features, and overall usability, all while costing $600. And the Pixel 6a is a top tier Android flagship that is not only here to compete, but solidify Google as a company that can make top tier flagships and top tier budget phones. And not only is it top tier, but it costs $150 less than the regular 6. And even though both of these phones aren't even in the same bracket in terms of Google lineup, I feel like the $150 difference isn't too far of a stretch, and both phones are very similar to each other. So I will be comparing the Pixel 6 and 6a based on 5 different categories, starting with display, software, battery, speakers, and last but not least, cameras. And now the first thing that I wanted to look at when comparing the Pixel 6 versus the 6a is the display. Now the Pixel 6a has a 6.1 inch 1080p display, and the Pixel 6 has a 6.4 inch 1080p display that are very similar in comparison when it comes to the overall feel of them. Even when we look at the refresh rate of each phone, the 90Hz on the 6 didn't really feel that much smoother since the 6a's 60Hz did so well. So as far as overall smoothness, I would say that the 6 had the slight edge, but I enjoyed it just as much as the 6a. And when it comes to responsiveness, the 6 did a much better job than the 6a because there were times where my 6a will respond very slow whenever I pressed or moved something. So as far as responsiveness, the 6 is much more responsive due to it being able to fix its previous problems. Now when it comes to size of both displays, I can't really give a true winner because size is based on preference. Some people think that 6.4 inches is too big. Some people think that 6.1 inches is too small. But I will say that in terms of viewing experience, I preferred the 6 since I got much more screen real estate, and even when some video was cut out, it still showed more than the regular 6a. And I pretty much had the same opinion when it came to brightness. The 6 was slightly brighter with its 800 nits worth of peak brightness. The 6a had 778 nits worth of peak brightness, so whenever I was outside and wanted to be on my phone, both of them were fine when I maxed it out. Now the final thing that I really liked about the 6 and 6a's display was the fact that they had really great resolutions. Both phones had nice and vibrant colors, both phones had sharp displays, and both phones gave me an overall great experience. So I would say in terms of resolution when watching videos, it was pretty much tied. And to give you guys an idea of my experience with each phone, here's some examples of me playing games and watching videos.
Cleveland is a heck of a defensive team, and they play the Warriors tough. It's another three. Back-to-back triples for Kobe. 500. A slow start for the Rockets, but they're starting to get it going now. Bryant drains a three. The third three-point basket for Kobe.
Make that pass. Bryant in isolation with Barnes. Got Barnes in the air. Put it in. Three-point opportunity for Kobe Bryant.
The next thing that I want to look at when comparing both phones is the software. Now when it came to software, I would say that both the 6 and 6a performed really well. They both did whatever I needed them to do very efficiently, but again the 6 responded much faster whenever I used it. The 6 was able to handle software smoother, the animations were much better. I still would get lags here and there, but it was much less often. But when it came to the 6a, there would be times where the OS was very laggy when it got hot. Like I would be normally using my phone and it would start to lag a little, so in certain situations I would get frustrated that it wasn't responding well enough. When it comes to software running heavier apps though, I had less problems with my 6 than my 6a. The 6 ran really smooth whenever the extra ventilation kicked in, and it felt much easier to use. But if I'm being honest, both of these phones lagged from time to time, and the 6 isn't perfect. There were definitely a couple times where my phone didn't respond well, but it didn't happen as often as it did on the 6a. And now one of the most important things that I wanted to look at when comparing both phones is the battery life. Now the battery on the Pixel 6 and 6a were pretty much the same when I was using both phones. The 6 was able to last me all day with 4 to 7 hours of on-screen time, and my Pixel 6a will last me towards the end of the day with the same screen on time. Now even though I haven't been using the Pixel 6a for a long time, I still wanted to let you guys know that in that little time that I've had it, I was still able to get a full day's use, and hopefully it stays that way until my next review comes. With the 6A, I will end my days with about 12% battery if it wasn't dead, and with the regular 6, the battery would be on 15%, which was pretty much the same. Also, I didn't use any power saving mode for this test, so both phones are matched when it comes to performance. And when it came to charging speeds, both the 6 and 6A were pretty much the same. The fast charging did okay. I would usually charge them overnight, but whenever I charge them during the day, after 30 minutes, they usually be on 40%. So overall, I would say that the battery on both phones were really good. And if you're someone who is looking to get the 6 or the 6A, then both can last you all day with no problems if you use power saving mode. And now the next thing that I wanted to look at when comparing the 6A to the 6 is the speakers. Now when it came to bass, I would say that the Pixel 6's speakers were slightly better. It made listening to songs a bit more enjoyable. The Pixel 6A was still pretty good, especially when compared to the 6, but it didn't really hit as hard and felt a little cheaper. The sound quality on both of them were also really good. Despite the bass not being that great, the music sounded nice, videos were loud and clear, and the speakers overall enhanced my viewing experience because they were just that good. And to give you guys an idea of how both the speakers sound, I'm going to play a video so that you can just see how loud they are. And now the final, yet one of the most important things that I wanted to look at when comparing both phones is the cameras. Now the cameras on the Pixel 6 and 6A were pretty much the same when it came to outside pictures. The Pixel 6 has a 50 megapixel main camera backed by a 12 megapixel ultra wide, and the 6A has a 12 megapixel wide and ultra wide. And when we look at these daytime outside photos, we can see that this is where the cameras were able to shine. My selfies were really good, the accuracy was on point, and the resolution was mildly sharp. And now when we look at the inside daytime photos, we can see that the cameras again were able to shine with good lighting. The sharpness wasn't always there, but it was still acceptable. My skin tone still looked great, and the objects looked really good. And when it came to video quality, both of these phones were really good. And to give you guys an example, here's some videos that I took on it. So here's the final question. Should you get the Pixel 6 or the Pixel 6A? Well, if I'm being honest, I would say get the Pixel 6 because that extra $150 will take you a much longer way. It'll give you a better display, better smoothness, wireless charging, and a much more premium experience. And there it is, my review on the Pixel 6A versus the Pixel 6. Now let me know down in the comments, would you get the Pixel 6A over the Pixel 6 or vice versa? Let me know. And if you guys made it to the end of this video, I'd like to say thank you for sticking around, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It'll be very appreciated. And as far as social media, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.